Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. We got some breaking news this afternoon on January 28th. It's about 1 p.m. Eastern time, and we have a new defensive passing game coordinator and secondary coach. Obviously, Jeff Hafley going to the Miami Dolphins, and him taking Ryan Downard with him, taking a couple other people with him as well. So we had a void to kind of fill here, right? And you guys know passing game coordinator on defense is kind of the second in command on defense, if you will. It seems to be the trend, the theme across the rest of the league. We're going to talk about who is filling that void in Bobby Babich. Really, really excited to dive into the details. We'll give you his playing history. We'll give you his coaching history, get everybody's take in the chat as well. I think this is great news. It's a guy that's somewhat familiar to Green Bay. He was I believe, if I remember correctly, in the interviewing process the last time we were looking for a defensive coordinator. So obviously someone that Matt LaFleur thinks very highly of. And I like the fact that he brings a little bit of a different approach than maybe Jonathan Gannon does. I think this is a good hire. I think it's a youthful hire. I think it's going to be a lot of energy. We'll also give you a quote that Bill Huber reported from a former Green Bay Packer who's been playing with Bobby Babich in Micah Hyde. So we'll give you all that and more before we dive into it. If you guys would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your afternoon in this breaking news edition. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future breaking news episodes like this one right here. Let's waste no time. Get into it here. So Bobby Babich, hired as the Packers defensive passing game coordinator and secondary coach in Green Bay. He comes over from Buffalo. Let's just dive right into all of the details. Rob Demovsky with the tweet. I noticed it because Adam Schefter had retweeted it out as well. The Packers are hiring Bobby Babich, the former Bills defensive coordinator. Sources said he's replacing Ryan Downard, and he will have the defensive passing game coordinator title. Matt LaFleur interviewed Babich for the defensive coordinator job the last time before hiring Hafley. So he's one of those kind of, I don't know, maybe top 10 choices of Matt LaFleur of young up-and-coming coaches. So imagine if they had Bobby Babich kind of close to Jeff Hafley in the rankings there. How cool would it be if you almost bring in like a little bit of a Jeff Hafley approach, a Jeff Hafley-esque, if you will, defensive mind to be your passing game coordinator on the defensive side of the ball, along with Jonathan Gannon, who's had tremendous success as a defensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles, so much so that it got him a head coaching job with the Arizona Cardinals. I was listening to JJ, I think it was JJ Watt or somebody say earlier today, they didn't think that it was that Jonathan Gannon should have been fired from Arizona. That's a wild take, right? Because some people were like, oh, man, he was a horrible head coach. Some people thought he kind of got the rough end of the deal there. So pretty cool, man. You're getting all these young coaches who are pretty proven to be such young guys across the league that are kind of formulating this staff, if you will. I think it's a great thing. So let's just dive into it. And again, quick little recap. We'll get into his playing career and everything else. Bobby Babich has established himself as one of the league's premier developers of defensive talent. On January 28th, the Packers officially hired Babich to serve as the team's defensive passing game coordinator and secondary coach. So obviously Ryan Downer was the secondary coach as well. So Bobby Babich is going to take over that role. He joins the staff of newly hired defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, filling the void left by Ryan Downer's departure to Miami. Below is a chronological breakdown of his playing and coaching career. Again, you can get all this information over in our Patreon group, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. It's the best way to support what we do here at PTA. Also get you a ton of extra content, including draft content, our draft board, et cetera, et cetera. We appreciate everybody supporting over there. All right, here we go. Bobby Babich, playing career from 02 to 05. All right. Babich, that was 2005, not 1905. Okay, he's not 112 years old here. Babich was a durable and intelligent cornerback who followed in the footsteps of his father, longtime NFL coach, Bob Babich. All right. So he's obviously a second generation football guy here. In college, he played at North Dakota State University. In 2002, he had his red shirt pulled early in the season due to injuries in the Bison secondary. He appeared in 8 games and recorded his first career interception. So again, he was set to be a red shirt freshman, right? And then they had so many injuries, they pulled the red shirt, threw him on the field, and he got his first career interception that year as a true freshman, I guess you could say, right? From 2003 to 2005, he became a fixture in the secondary, finishing his career as a 4-year letterman. Huge feat there. Highlights: as a senior in 2005, he led the team in interceptions and was a 2-time academic all-conference honoree. So you're talking about a high standard guy, both in the classroom and on the football field. Now, coaching career. He switches over to coaching at the collegiate level from 2006 to 2010 and again in 2016. So Babich began his coaching career, or journey, I should say, in the Midwest, focusing on secondary play and recruiting. So he was at Kent State in 2006, began his career as a graduate assistant, went to Eastern Illinois from 2007 to 2010, served as a secondary coach. His unit consistently ranked in the top 20 nationally in takeaway. So you got a ball hawk teacher here at Eastern Illinois. He moves on to Florida International in 2016 after a few years in the NFL. We'll go to the NFL career in just a second. So after a few years in the NFL, he goes to Florida International in 2016. He returned to college for 1 season as a secondary coach and defensive passing game coordinator. So he's got experience at the college level up to this point as a defensive passing game coordinator, coming out of college and then going into the pros and back to college to coach. Now, coaching career in the NFL from 2011 to the present, Babich has earned a reputation for turning position groups into elite, all-pro caliber units. I'm going to read that again. Babich has earned a reputation for turning position groups into elite, all-pro caliber units. So in Carolina, he was with the Panthers from 2011 to 2012. All right. He was a defensive assistant. He went to Cleveland to coach the Browns from 2013 to 2015. He was the assistant defensive backs coach / safeties. Then he goes to Buffalo in 2017 to 2021. He joined the staff as an assistant defensive backs coach in 2017 before being promoted to safeties coach in 2018, 2021. He was instrumental in the all-pro development of Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. So, timeout, pause. We all know we loved Micah Hyde in Green Bay. We did not agree with or understand why they let Micah Hyde walk. You could see a little bit of flashes, but he wasn't the dominant player he became in Buffalo, right? Well, who helped mold him into the player that he became, and Jordan Poyer as well? It was Bobby Babich. So from 2018 to 2021, instrumental in the all-pro development of both Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Pelts on the freaking wall. You love to see it. Now, with the Buffalo Bills in 2022 and 2023, he transitioned to linebackers coach. Check this out. He coached Matt Milano to a first-team All-Pro selection in 2022 and aided the breakout of Terrell Bernard in 2023. So let me get this straight. He played in the secondary in college, was a ball hawk, gets into coaching, goes to the pros for a little bit, goes back to college for 1 year with Florida International, okay? He comes back to the NFL. When he comes back to the NFL, he coaches 2 all-pro safeties. You see the success following Bobby Babich around. You see why he's a young, up-and-coming coach, right? So he goes to coach the safeties and immediately has success and has 2 players that played outside of their mind, one of which the Packers didn't think were good enough to re-sign in Micah Hyde. And we all know how that ended. He obviously went on to be a great player. So then he switches and says, you know what? They need a linebackers coach. I'll hop over and coach linebackers. And all he does is take somebody by the name of Matt Milano and turns him into a first-team All-Pro selection in 2022. And he also aided in the breakout of Terrell Bernard in 2023. So you're seeing a guy who can coach at the secondary level, who can coach at the linebacker level. And I love this because I thought he was a linebacker guy. And as we started this show right now, I'm thinking, man, I thought he was a linebacker guy. I guess he's a defensive backs guy. No, he's coached both positions. And I love that he's seen the game at a fairly high level as a coach, coaching the linebackers from that mid-mark. And you got Jonathan Gannon, who's seen the game at a high level as a defensive coordinator and a secondary specialist. So now you've got your second in command, your second in control, kind of geared around the linebacker position. I don't know about you guys, but that's an exciting thing. That's a very, very exciting thing. All right. So in 2024 to 2025, he was promoted to defensive coordinator. In 2024, he led a unit that ranked 11th in scoring defense, so a real solid defense there. Then in 2025, this year, his defense finished first in the NFL in pass defense, allowing the fewest average passing yards per game at 156.9 in the league. Now, keep in mind, I think yards per pass attempt is more important than passing yards per game, although that's a nice little caveat there, right? I mean, that's a huge stat, 156.9 passing yards per game allowed. That's absolutely awesome. Again, he was the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. All right. So I know like somebody in the chat just now, I think they had asked, let me go back and hit it real quick. I don't want to misquote here. Here we go. You got to be kidding me, says, how was he not getting DC interviews? Well, he was already a defensive coordinator. So now, had they technically fired him yet? Probably not, right? So the fact that, he's kind of laying in limbo there, I guess you could say, and then the staff gets scrapped and you got everybody else. So, yeah, I guess he was technically fired. The whole staff was, well, I don't know if the whole staff was fired or not, right? It's a great question. Kidding me? So to me, I think I would answer that question by looking at all the other positions that's already been filled. And if I'm remembering correctly, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but Sean McDermott got let go a little bit later. So maybe it was so late in the cycle that he didn't get a whole lot of interviews because everybody's already done their work on other guys, right? I think it's a valid question there, but I'm really impressed with the resume, man. I love the fact that he's versatile. Linebacker and DB coach is absolutely awesome. So pretty cool. All right. So again, promoted to DC. We talked about his pass defense, everything. So obviously here in 2026, he's hired on January 28, 2026 as the defensive passing game coordinator and secondary coach. He reunites with Jonathan Gannon to lead the Packers back in. So obviously they must have coached together at some point in the past. So this quote, Bill Huber just reported on this. You guys go check his article out. Make sure you check it out. It's an awesome, quick little breakdown of everything. Bobby Babich. Again, if you're following Bill Huber on Twitter, I think it's Bill Huber NFL, I believe is what it is. But if you just search Bill Huber, you'll find it. Really cool article. This quote he mentioned in the article as well. And tell me if this sounds like somebody y'all have heard of. Quote, until we're perfect, we'll never be where we want to be at. That's the way we view it, he said during training camp in 2024. Quote, until we're absolutely perfect on every rep, which will never happen, we'll never be where we need to be. So we're going to constantly try to grow. When I read that quote, the first thing I thought of was Lombardi. And if I remember correctly, his quote was, and he said this is Bart Starr telling the story of Vince Lombardi and their first meeting. And Vince Lombardi said, we're going to relentlessly chase perfection, knowing full well we will not catch it because nobody's perfect. But we're going to relentlessly chase perfection because if we do, in the process, we're going to catch excellence. Does that quote not sound very similar? Until we're perfect, we're never where we want to be at. That's the way we view it. Until we're absolutely perfect on every rep, which will never happen, we'll never be where we need to be. So we're going to constantly try to grow. I mean, that sounds just like the Lombardi quote. Pretty cool, man. Relentlessly chase perfection, knowing full well we can't catch it. But when we do, we will catch excellence in the process. And Bart Starr said he looked at us, he turned around and snapped around real quick. Lombardi did and said, I'm not remotely interested in just being good. Love it. Love it. Pretty cool, man. So shout out to Bill Huber. Awesome article that he just wrote. So there you go, guys. There's your new defensive passing game coordinator, Bobby Babich out of Buffalo. Love the resume, love the background, love the youthfulness, love that he's a former player, had success at the college level. I think this is a guy that's got pelts on the wall. Again, he's helped coach up 2 all-pro safeties, and then boom, he turns around and he coaches up an all-pro linebacker after changing positions in terms of coaching positions. So really, really cool stuff. Appreciate everybody jumping in. I'm curious to know, everybody in the comments, you're watching this back later, let me know in the comments, how do you feel about the Bobby Babich hire? This is your second in command on defense, essentially. To the best of my knowledge, we still got DeMarcus Covington with the defensive line. You still got Derek Ansley back there helping with the secondary. this coaching staff is shaking out really, really nice. Now, maybe something's changed. You guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Let me know. Have one of those two guys been poached yet? I don't think they have. But this defensive staff, along with Jonathan Gannon, really, really, really liking the way this is shaking up. Let us know in the comments, how do you feel? Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future live streams. Appreciate everybody jumping in here. And for random streams like this going forward, this is what you'll get. When news breaks, we will jump in and talk about it. So let us know in the comments, how do you feel about it? We'll be back tonight, guys. The plan is 5 p.m. Central Time. All right, 5 p.m. Central Time, roughly a little less than 6 hours away. We're going to be getting the guys in here, me, Emilio, Tim, Jacob, and we're going to be doing a live 7-round mock draft and kind of just see, all right, how's this thing going to lay without a first-round pick? We look forward to seeing everybody in here. Again, make sure you got those notifications on so you don't miss it. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.